as anything grows, as anything becomes more popular, there's more opportunities, right? And then every day, every few days, I'm getting emails and DMs about opportunities with other brands, other partnerships, consulting, just general advice, like you name it, investors and franchise opportunities from the Middle East to the US to around the country. And they're all coming at me at this stage now because it's a brand that is growing and it's strong and people feel really committed to and invested in, and all of these things have been a massive change in my life where I haven't ever faced anything like this before. So I'm learning as I go, but fortunately now, like, I've got people around me who could support me in those things, in those especially in the things like the brand partnerships and any opportunities that come up where I don't have the knowledge about how all of this stuff works. So it's just now filtering out the things that I knows and being okay with saying no if it doesn't align to the specific vision that I have, and also how to navigate the opportunities that arise, like that are an absolute yes.
That are the ones that you should be following up on.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Kind of skipping forward to one of the questions, because it just feels like a really good time to put it. It was one thing that really stood out from the conversation we had first time around is your ability to say no. And it was this commitment to this vision. So there was something that you were talking about at the time, people had approached you, you were really set on finding a venue in London and you'd said no. And I was wondering how that's changed, like to go now with the brand that you've got and the influx of inbound opportunities that you've got, is it harder to judge? But it sounds like now you've got more support around you to help you do that. Yeah,
do you know what? There's been a few of those moments where I've had to say no. And it's been really, really difficult to maybe people that have been wanting to come on board, or that I've been speaking to about like potential working together, that just hasn't worked out because of that same feeling of like, I have to stay true to what I feel right now and listen to that. The no is never easy, you know, especially when like the bright lights shine, you could see the stars and you have an opportunity or a brand or a person that's been in another company that's full of experience.
The carrot they're dangling is an attractive proposition, right? Yeah.
And you have to, I take a long while to get to that decision. I think by trusting too much in ways like I see the best in everybody. And sometimes it's challenging for me to get to like that clear understanding of what's no and what's right for me. And I've got, and I'm, like I said, I'm still learning, and I'm still this is very fresh, very young, but like each day brings something new to that, and I have to just continue to stay committed and to my vision and my truth.
What I've loved about the journey, and again, the point I was going to make, I've gone off on a tangent, was to say about the window that you give us into the experience of running the business, which is, I think, where you can connect with a brand, but then continue that connection because you buy into you as a person. And the fact, I'm going to put it bluntly, sometimes you fuck up. You are a fallible human being and you're willing to showcase that because it lets everyone in on the fact that you do not have to get it right every time. What makes me anxious is seeing your willingness to fuck up and how willing you are to put it out there. I remember seeing the journey you went on with getting the oven right and getting the dough right early on in your Saint Espresso residency, and then coming out the other side of that, it felt like that was the switch where everything just went through the roof and those queues started building and the updates on Instagram stories saying it was sold out in 2.5, 3 hours. It was just crazy to see, but it was nice to see that evolution because some people might just see we've sold out and we've got these queues around the block, not the work that it's taken to get there. So I wanted to say thank you for the transparency and the authenticity and just the realness, because that, I think, from a branding perspective, it helps people connect, but it also helps people realize that, not everyone's going to get it right, even if they're building a successful brand.
Do you know what, John? Like, I love the fuck ups. Like, I genuinely do, because I just see a story in everything. You know, I see the story in forgetting the order on a Thursday, so I ordered the delivery for the wrong week. So we're standing there and there's no delivery arriving, which means we've got no product to make the rolls for the weekend.
That's quite integral to the business, right? Yeah,
quite. Yeah. No, so those moments where I have to drive to Dartford and at night go to the massive warehouse to pick it up in my nan's Fiat 500, you know, like all of these. But I see like yeah, it's not for everybody, and to some people it's like, oh, I don't know if you should be sharing that, I don't know if you should be talking about that. And I genuinely see a story in those moments. They're real. They're real. They're real.
Yeah,
raw,
it's a great way to describe it.
And they're true. Like, they're what's happening, and like. And that's what I will continue to do. Will continue to share, because I just believe that it's so relatable to people, not just showing the highlight reel. You know,
it's a really good point. And I came away, and I think I said it in the first episode, that I think your strength is storytelling and being able to bring people on that journey with you. And I'm sure you're even better baker than you were. But again, there's power in growing and being able to hire people to do that, as well as dipping in from that from time to time. The next question I was going to go on to, how have you found the transition from one person business to now leading a team? What was that process like? Again, I imagine a lot of learning along the way, but how have you found the transition?
I've been very lucky. Like, it's almost happened so naturally. I went from one person knowing what to do to then two people knowing what to do. And then once the third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh came along, like, it was just like, well, this is what we do. This is how it runs. This is what George expects. This is how he wants it. This is how he doesn't want it. You know, it really, I'll give a lot of credit to the first person that I hired, Shanae. Like, she was the first person that was on board with me and has been with me ever since. And she was the one that kind of came on board, and she's very process orientated. So she's like, this is how we do this. And if you don't tell her to change, she won't change it.
Right.
You know, if you tell her step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she'll do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, that's exactly what's been happening. And I've just managed to get people on board that have just bought into that and just picked it up straight away. It was challenging, because I realized that I'm now going from the doing to managing people. And that was hard for me. And it will continue to be hard, because people of different characters, people of different emotions, different, you know.
Let's be honest, when you're managing or leading people, a lot of that is playing counsellor, therapist, support, emotional support, because they're human beings.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's ebbs and flows of all of that. Yeah. So that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, but it's very tough. And you go through, obviously there's good days and you can feel the energy sometimes drop. And I'm like just now observing and witnessing all that's going on. I think I've done a very good job of like actually stepping back and allowing them to do it, to get on with it, trusting them to do it. And I've kind of set the boundary without intentionally setting the boundary, to like give them the freedom to, like, if there's a problem, like, you will fix it. Like, I don't have to be the first port of call always. And that was very freeing for me. That was very, very freeing.
Did that happen early on, or did you find that maybe you were guilty of micromanagement for a bit and then had to withdraw, or was it quite an early transition for you to say, okay, I'm going to give these people autonomy, responsibility, bit of freedom, and let them do what they hired for?
Yeah, I feel like there was at the very beginning, because it was like this thing that I'd worked on, and now I'm like almost like going, this is now your responsibility to take care of. The thoughts that I had in my mind is like, is the product going to be the same? And the woo-woo thoughts in my head was like, the energy that's put into it from me, like, is that going to be the same energy from these people? Which then makes the products, like, you can taste the love that's into it, you know?
Yeah.
And fortunately, I have people that are better than me. you know, and my sister being one now, you know.
That's brilliant. So I never knew that was an official hire, but I've seen her a lot more on your socials getting involved in this. So this is great.
She hates that.
Okay.
She hates any camera near her, but sometimes she's in the background or something. Or if she,
I think I've seen her hand up before
hand
against
in
the
her
camera.
face, go away. But
what's that feel like, bringing your sister into the fold now?
She's been incredible. Like, honestly, if she left tomorrow and she said, you step back in, I wouldn't know what to do. Like the whole process, she's basically taken on the role as like lead baker.
Okay.
So she is now in charge of the whole operation on the day with the bakes. All right. So she's got that now down to a T, timing wise, what's baked and when, like for the business model, and that's happened naturally. And I don't know it. So if I now step back in, I am fucked.
We need to get your sister on the podcast.
Yeah, there's no way.
What a transition for her as well.
But it's just taken so much weight off my shoulders. Like it really has. Like I know that she's there, and I know everything's gonna get done.
But not only is it your sister, obviously you were running a business together before, so you know how each other
works. Yeah.
And I think that's a lovely thing.
It is lovely, but sometimes it's the sister-brother relationship over the
sibling, not rivalry even, but friction, conflict.
Yeah,
whatever.
the difference in communication sometimes, you know, just natural. Yeah. You know, obviously the other staff wouldn't maybe like talk to me in a way that Mariana does.
Yes.
You know, which is, it's fine because they understand the dynamic. But for me, it's like maybe sometimes like when she's upset about something or angry about something, like the whole communication and that front is a little bit different.
I understand that completely.
Yeah, so it's just the brother. But I wouldn't change it.
You take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah,
ultimately, there's more smooth than there is rough. But yeah, you can't strip away the fact you are brother and sister.
And she cares.
And she gives a shit.
Cares,
exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's
she
great.
really cares.
Going back to the point you made about one of the woo-woo thoughts that you had, which is when people that aren't you are making a product, is the same love going into it? Are people having the same experience with what they're buying, what they're tasting? How do you make sure you're bringing people in that care about the brand and are going to represent the brand in the way that you want them to? Because I say this to everyone, but I do think it's the best analogy. You've created a baby. This baby is your business. You've put literal blood, sweat and tears into this thing, and you have to give up some of that responsibility. That is a huge decision to make. Can you ensure that you're hiring the right people that are going to love it like you do?
That's very difficult, especially with, like, it's not something that I thrive at. Is hiring people and especially firing people.
Look, I've had to do it over the course of my career, and I mean, who enjoys that? If you enjoy it, you're a sadist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand. Like, it's a learning process for me as well to get better at that. And in terms of like actually bringing the right people on board, I think it's an energy thing for me, you know. I think I feel it, like, you know, when you sit down and speak to somebody and you get that, and you also get when they don't. And sometimes that is shown over a period of time that they're not fully invested, and that's when like the decisions have to be made. But ultimately, I've sharpened up my hiring process now to make it more professional than just going on the vibes. But
there is something to be said, like following your heart, and there is a gut instinct. And I've made hiring decisions. I make a lot of selection decisions in my day job based on gut instinct and that feeling of how does that character fit with the business that I'm hiring for. So there's a talent in doing that. I think leadership comes with needing to know when you get that wrong quite quickly before you start having a detrimental impact on what you've built.
And so, knowing that it's okay to change your mind as well. That's been something, is like, if you start to feel like this is not right, and then you think, now I've got to deal with this, and it's like almost like a little shame on myself for like,
It's like you failed in a way.
Yeah, do you know? How have you let this happen? And like, it was something that from my previous business that, like, in terms of I tried to make a more executive hire back in my old business, and I made a couple and I hired a chef, and it was all wrong.